Welcome back to Microsoft Flight Simulator with the Rude Man. We are back in Oregon, and this is Medford. We're right on the border between Oregon and California. So we're going to be heading out today for home, and I think I'm just going to fly into Portland. That's where we started. That should be where we finish up. And let's get on with it. It's a shorter flight today, I think. Less than a couple hundred miles. So let's go in and take a look. All right, so first of all, I have already purchased our fuel. So we're fueled up and ready to get started. And so let's turn the fuel on, be the first thing we do. Right. Let's do this. We're going to turn that on. We're going to go above and do our normal thing. Put it in taxi. Turn some lights on. Panel lights on. Throw a couple of those on. Bring that crash bar up. Put some power on. Auxiliary BP. Turn the auto fuel system on. The autopilot on, and the oxygen. All right, sweet beans. Let's hit starter. I like to watch it start. All right, and while we're running up the rubber band, let's go in and set a course. I'm going to turn the GPS on. We're going to come over here and put this on MFD. Put the map on and make it full screen. And then let's put a flight plan in. Our flight plan's pretty simple. Let me show it to you. Okay, we're starting off in Medford here. Normally I'd go straight up, but in this case, if you look at all the civilizations kind of right here in the middle, so I've decided to come over here and then go up, instead of a straight up through the middle of nowhere here. All righty, let's go in and get this set up. So our origin, KMFR. Enter. And we're going for runway 32 today. There's only two choices there. We'll go to 32. Destination is going to be, of course, KPDX. That's Portland. And we'll enter that. And then we got one stop off on the way, one waypoint on the way. And that's going to be KEUG. KEUG. And we'll enter that. And at this point, that's it for us. We're going to hit done. And we're ready to go. Okay, so let's jump up and set some... oh, I'm not even in... yeah, I should have put my throttle into... there. All right. That should have been an idle. Did you notice when I put it into idle, though, it jumped over to the high idle? I don't know why it does that. It's supposed to allow you to be able to put it into low idle and then flip it over to high. But I don't know. We'll just keep it as it is. Nothing I can do about it. Let's put our flight director on. We're ready to rotate, I think. Let's make sure we put our flaps down for takeoff. And we're ready to taxi out. Let me double check which way we need to go. I think we're going to the right. Let's take a quick look here. And yeah, we need to go right. So let's And this is going to be our last leg on this particular tour. If you see the windsock in front of us, we've got a little bit of wind. It's not too bad. And we're going to be going into it slightly. We're going to go into a crosswind, it looks like. So yeah, this is going to end our trip, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to try to... I got some new planes I want to fly. My new PC is supposed to be here in 3 days. Although I might have time off because I need to redo my studio with this new setup that I'm getting. I've got computers moving. All the computers will be moving. And the new PC is going to be set up along with some other new equipment. And I'm not looking forward to it. It's going to be a heck of a job. So I'm taking everything out of the studio and resetting everything back up again. I got some kind of major things I want to do. Major to me. Things that I've been wanting to do for about 4 or 5 years. And it just took, tearing the room apart to do it. And I didn't have a reason to do that till now. This setup that I'm doing is going to probably be the last one I do for this kind of thing. So I want to take the opportunity to do it and do it upright. So we're going to be heading into the wind a little bit more than I thought we were going to. So there's a little crosswind, but not a great one. So, all right. A quick double check of everything. Barometer's okay. All right, we only have parking brake on, and the inert SEP is on, so no badness here. Nothing to be concerned about. We're looking at 107 nautical miles on the first leg, and roughly about that same amount heading, on from there. 6,000. We got flight directors are on. Everything's looking okay here. Left fuel, right fuel. It's doing that automatically. I'm not messing with that. I didn't do that. It's doing it automatically, keeping those things equal. Flaps are up and ready for takeoff. We're all set to go. All right, brake off, power up. Rotate, positive climb, landing gear, flaps up, and we'll check that in a second. And then we need to come about to the right a little bit and line up with our flight plan. Autopilot on. All right, let's take that off. Let me check. Landing gear is up. Flaps are up. Yeah, we should be okay. Autopilot back on, and then let's go take a look, see what we got. Sutton Road, Oak Ridge Ranch, there's White City, a bunch of little airstrips up here, sitting on the road. There's Medford that we took off from. It's just in a little bit of a valley here. And that's California beyond those hills there. We are climbing. We're 4,700 feet climbing Snyder Creek. All the little airstrips. One there, there's one there. Beagle Sky Ranch. There, one over there. They all add up to about 14,000 in the United States. And that's the minimum. I can't remember the exact number, but it was 14,000 something. That's how many airports there are in the United States. And that may or may not include little dirt strips that people are using for taking off and landing little planes from their ranches and stuff that don't necessarily call themselves an airstrip. So hey, we are on our way on our last leg of our tour of the northern, southern, east, and west coast of the United States. That leaves all the states in the middle of the country that we haven't seen yet. And they're not that many, to be honest. We hit quite a few of them. And I did skip a few that I've actually flown, states that I've flown in on commercial jets and other flights. So if you're interested, you can go back and look at some of my previous flights, and you'll probably catch a lot of those states, northern and southern and eastern, that I may or may not have hit on this particular tour. And this wasn't an in-depth tour. Basically, this was just a tour flying over the state and checking out the country from the perspective of the sky being up high. Shady Cove. It doesn't look that shady to me. It doesn't look that shady. So we are going to be into some hills here, so I'm going to have to be careful about my altitude, more so than I was flying over Arizona and New Mexico, places like that. What I'm thinking to catch the inside, I've got two thoughts. One is to come back down from Northern California and head across the upper middle states, hook a Yui towards the east coast, and come back down the lower middle states and just take a tour that way. Or we saw the majority of the United States on this tour. Again, not going into a lot of detail about things, just kind of looking at it from a bird's eye view. A flyover. We'll call it a flyover tour of the United States. And I'm thinking what I could do is to do a flight of the continental states and fly to each city that has the capital. So the capital of Washington, for example, would be Olympia, just outside of Seattle area. In Oregon, it's Salem, and we've actually flown over Salem once, but we didn't land there. So what I'm thinking is maybe doing a tour of all the continental states, not all 50 states. We'll have to do a few of them separately. We could do Alaska, but we'd have to fly over Canada to do it, which is fine, I guess. But I'm talking about keeping out Hawaii, Alaska, those kinds of things. I need to go in and check and make sure I'm not overtaxing the engine. So let's go inside and let's check that. Okay, so we're okay. We're not. I got a little bit of picky room here, and we're right on the button with the prop RPM. That's okay. The ITT is not hot. Oil pressure's in the green, and temperature's in the green. So we're doing fine. Let's check our speed. And we are at 227. Perfect. Doing great. So that's what I have to decide. And I'm thinking of the latter. I'm thinking about doing the capital cities tour. And we'll just fly from one state to the next. And that actually wouldn't be too bad because we could do a lot of that in some very short flights. It'd be like maybe an hour flight instead of a 2 or 3 hour flight from state to state. And the biggest question is in what order to do them. Do I do them, across the northern states and then come back through on them in the middle states, or how do you go about that? Which one should I go to first? Obviously, I'd probably start in Oregon because that's where I'm at, and I'd probably start in Salem and head to. I could not. I don't have to start there. I can start anywhere I want. So maybe start in Olympia, fly down to Salem, and then down to. Okay, now it's going to be a long ways to California. So this is going to be a good question. How am I going to put this together? Interesting. I might have to think about this. There might be a strategic way to do it, because if I go from Riverview Ranch to the left there, if I go from Washington to Oregon, that's an hour flight maybe. But from Oregon to California, that's going to be a heck of a flight. But what if I went from Washington to Oregon and then Oregon over into, say, I don't know, Nevada, something closer than California, and then from California down, and then over to from Nevada to California. I don't know. I'll have to really study this before I decide how to do it. And I really would want to go from state to state instead of just starting. Starting is not a big deal. Starting in Seattle, I can start in Seattle. But I mean, I want to really stick to flying from, say, Seattle to Portland, and then the next trip starting in Portland, where we left off, like it was a real flight. You don't just fly to Oregon and then your plane magically appears in Colorado. If that's that's what I'm talking about. Keeping it real. And flying from one airport to the next and then taking off from that airport to the next one. I think this is going to wait till I get my new system set up and my studio put together. So we're still got, I forgot to set my timer. We got about 66 miles to go on the first leg. Quite a few little mountains out there. Look at all that. And again, just pointing out that if you look as far as you can see, there's basically no habitation. This is all uninhabited land out there. Now, that's not to say that there might be a cabin or two out there of some hunter or, you know, some survivalist family that doesn't want to live close to a city, or, you know, that could very well be that there's somebody out there, but I doubt it, because a lot of this land is owned by the federal government and they wouldn't allow that. So it's pretty much uninhabited. There's a lot of land in the United States that doesn't have civilization on it. It's pretty amazing. There's your view of the cockpit. It's a pretty plane. It's pretty compact. Umpqua. And the glide arrow. What the heck does that mean? Yeah, if you remember a week and a half ago or so, I had a head cold and was trying desperately to keep it out of my lungs. It was when I was got back from holiday. I kind of woke up with a sore throat again last night. I'm hoping it doesn't mean anything, but you can tell that in my voice. It's got that old, I've got a frog in my voice. I don't know where that came from. You know, you got a frog in your throat. Really? Oh God, that's gross. I mean, I don't even live in France. Wherever that saying came from, I'm kind of been that way all day. I did a live stream earlier, and I kept having to take a sip of fluid, hoping it would clear it out. I'm pretty sure you can probably hear it in my voice. Is that a bridge down there? There's a little town down there. Look at that. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder where that is. I saw that bridge right there, and I thought, why would they have a bridge on a river that there's nobody at? That's pretty interesting. I'm going to have to find out where that's at. Pretty interesting. They look like they're a long way. Because look at it, it's just mountains all around. How do they get to town? What are we close to here? That literally looked like it's in the middle of nowhere. Maybe that's why there's so many airstrips out there. Everybody has to fly in and out. Umpqua. I'm going to have to look up Umpqua. Now that Umpqua, that's the name of that airport there. Let me see if I can find that on the map. Oh, that's Roseburg. Okay. I've actually been to Roseburg. It just, you know how things look from the air, completely different than you would think. Okay, so that's Roseburg. Wow. It is a quaint little town in the mountains. Now you've got some land over there that looks like it's been, and over there that has been civilized. There are little towns in the mountains. Sometimes it makes you wonder what people do for a living that live out that far. I would guess a lot of lumbering and stuff like that. Lumberjilling. I'm kind of glad that this tour is ending here because, as I said, in a couple of days I'll be getting my new setup, my new computer, and I'm afraid there's going to be about a week where I'm not going to be able to work, trying to get everything set up. So I'm glad this is the last leg, and that gives me a little bit of a breather until I do something else. Now, I do have a couple of days before that. Right now it's Tuesday. I do have a couple of days to maybe put a flight or two together and put it in a can and have something available to put up on the YouTube page while I'm not able to work. And I don't have the kind of YouTube page where I can just put a face cam up and sit and talk like a podcast, anything like that. It's just a poor man's gaming channel, you know, and that's going out of style. It's going the way of the dinosaur, I'm afraid. Gaming channels are. There's going to be a few big channels out there that still do some kind of gaming, and most of them have moved. I mean, a lot of them started off by actually gaming and playing the games, and moved to games in the news. Well, take Grand Theft Auto, for example. A lot of people started out actually just playing the game and having fun and doing that kind of thing, and the next thing you know, their channel evolved into talking about what's in the news, what happened today in Grand Theft Auto, what's new, what new DLC came out, what patch are you on, and how is that affecting your game. And you know, they went from half-hour to 45-minute gameplay to 15-minute. Here's what's new in GTA today. So it's more of a newsy type channel, and I just didn't enjoy that kind of thing. I did do some tutorials at some point on like games that I was playing, reviews once in a while if somebody was interested in a game, and I would do a quick take on what I thought about it to give them an idea of what it was about and whether they might like to play it or not. I did a little bit of that, but I didn't enjoy it really. I just enjoy sitting back playing the game and talking. Cottage Grove State. In 24 miles, we're going to reach that area that I told you about, that we're going to take a little detour to the right and head more north. And we should see more civilization than we would have if we and continued on the route over there. Cottage Grove is a pretty cute little place. There's Walker. Don't know what that is over there. Walker is in Creswell. There's a little town over there called Creswell. And that's just, all that is a little dirt track. Or grass, could be a grass track. They designate those as soft runways. So it could be either dirt or grass. Got a little bit of farming over here. A lot of these bald areas are places that have been cleared of trees and things. And generally they're reseeded. They'll come in and they'll cut the trees down, and then they'll come back in, clear the brush out, and reseed. We're at 3 minutes and 50 seconds, and we'll be turning slightly to the right. Something to look forward to on a quiet day. A beautiful day for a flight. It is pretty here too. We had a sunny day today. Still a little cold, but a little sunshine nevertheless. There's a hobby. That is Creswell over there. Just a small town. Up ahead, we're going to be flying to the left of Eugene and Springfield. Eugene and Springfield are pretty good-sized little towns. They're going to be off here to the right, but up here ahead of us. There's our airport that we're going to be turning at. Just buzzing it. But we're heading into some civilization. Central Oregon here. This is Eugene, this area. It's a little place called Bethel, close by. There's little towns dotted around the kind of larger towns. Bethel is a little bitty place. You almost don't know when you're leaving Eugene and entering Bethel. You got Spring Creek and Santa Clara, just little towns, little suburbs, really. Okay, stand by for a quick little turn to the right. It's all in the flight plan. Autopilot's going to take care of it. There we go. There's Munson, Strock Field, Greer. As I said, it's just a slight turn. It's going to put us in more of a northerly, more of a northeast kind of a flight plan towards Portland. Puts us over a little bit more civilized area instead of the hills. Over where we saw Greer over there, there's a little town called Coburg. Daniels Field. A little bit more civilization here. There's Munson. That's the Munson Airfield. Munson is what a little town called Junction City, or Junction, was it Junction City? Yeah, I think it is Junction City. And then that's Harrisburg over there. Where Daniels Field is, there's a little place called Harrisville, or Harrisburg. Actually, it's right below us. I didn't think we were going over it. Yeah, so that's the airfield for Harrisburg. Wayne Air Service. I know a guy that flies helicopters. Lafferty Field. That's Brownsville, Oregon. Like I said, there's little towns scattered all over this valley. I mean, you just move in from one to the next. For example, this one, we're going to be flying over Halsey, Oregon. Look at the farming note down there. Signs of life. That's what that is. Farming. Life goes on. Halsey, those airports all are considered part of Halsey. These over here, they're considered part of Brownsville. And when I say that, what I mean is an airfield is like any other business. They got to have an address. Those are designated for the towns that I mentioned. So those airfields, it would be considered airfield Showa in Brownsville. So that their address would be Brownsville. And then, of course, like I said, those over there would be Schrock, Halsey. The freeway that goes through this area is 99 East. And a lot of the highways would be considered, you know, there are other roads that are maybe bigger that parallel. So it'd be like what was here before I-5. Well, 99 East was there before I-5. There's a plane up in the air up there. Can you see it? I can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. There's another one right off from us. We can't see it. It's a Skyhawk. And it's flying, wow, it's flying on the ground. It must be landing. There it is, right down there. Right there. See that red light blinking? It must be going to land there. It's only 400 feet off the ground. Miller Airstrip. All right, off to the right, we've got a town called Lebanon. There's the airport or airstrip for it. There's another Skyhawk at about 11,000 feet. That must be that one. That must be a Skyhawk. All right, we're flying over Albany. This is Albany on the left here. It's a fairly good little town. Fairly good sized little town. It's kind of spread out, but paradise. A pair of dice. That's a little play on word there, paradise. That's funny. There's a place way over here called the Green Trees Ranch in Sile, Oregon. Like I said, this is just populated by tons and tons of little bitty towns. We got about 60 miles to go on our trip, about 15 minutes. As I said, this was a lot shorter than I thought it was going to be. And a river ran through it. Down below there. Right by Paradise. Mitchell Field. Back over there, we have Corvallis. There's a college in Corvallis. Gilmore Ag Air. Yeah, get past that Corvallis, past those hills right there, you'd be heading for the ocean. Ocean's not that far from there. Got a little airfield called Ames, which is in Jefferson, Oregon. Be over there somewhere. Ames right below us. Yeah, it's Jefferson, Oregon up in here. We're kind of flying over. Okay, so we're going to be flying kind of to the right of Salem, Oregon, which is the state capital of Oregon. It's going to be over in here. McNary Field, that's part of Salem. So if we were flying our tour of the states, we would be landing at McNary. There's also a state prison here. Of course, wouldn't there be? Almsville, Lone Oaks Ranch. That's an interesting one. Obviously, that's kind of funny because we don't have many oak trees in this area. So there would likely be a lone oak over there amongst all the pine trees and such. Coming into our mountain ranges. There's a mountain over there. Not quite sure which one. There's one over there. I'm guessing that one might be Mount Hood over there. That one is probably Mount Bachelor. It's hard to say. I might be wrong on that one. You might not be able to see Mount Bachelor from here. It might be over in that area. Silverton. All right, we're going to be coming into, if you haven't noticed, a lot more civilization. As I've said many times, Oregon is not a state that's known for large cities. Portland is the biggest city we've got, and it's not that big. It's a mess. I don't know how in the hell it got to be in such a mess, but, well, I do, but we won't talk about politics. Anyway, it's not really a large city comparatively when you're talking LA and Chicago and San Francisco, Chicago again, New York, any of those big cities. We got McMinnville over to the left over here. A lot of times when we're driving south in Oregon, we'll drive over in this area where McMinnville is, over in here. A whole hell of a lot less traffic than coming into Portland and driving down I-5 to Salem. A little bit more country driving. It's a little slower, but not quite as hair-raising. Portland speed limit is 65 on the freeway. Get up into Washington, you get up to 70 miles an hour. That's not to say people don't drive faster. We're about 30 miles out from our airport. Puts us about 8 minutes away. Can't believe it's this close. I didn't think it would be such a short flight. As a matter of fact, I thought it might take us more than one trip to get across Oregon. I was wrong. But we're doing a good clip, 200 and some miles an hour. 226. We're doing good. There's Hubbard below us, Aurora, Hubbard, a bunch of little towns. A lot of farming around. When you're driving the freeways, you don't see the farms. You see little bitty towns. And the towns are all surrounded by farms, but you don't see them, so you don't really know they're there when you're driving through most of Oregon. Depending on whether you're on the main highways or not. If you're off on some of the smaller highways, you're going to see a lot of farming, but on the main highways, you're just running from city to city to city, and then you don't really see the farmland all around it. But you can certainly see it from up here. Any place there's a piece of flat land, you got farming on it, and sometimes not so flat. Barlow. Good old Barlow. All right, so up ahead, you can see the rivers running this way, like here. And the airstrips for Portland run parallel to the river. So I'm going to probably come out to the right here and come in. So in just a minute here, we're about 19 miles out. I'm going to start heading over that way. Let me set the barometer. Yep, that's going to change our altitude about 100 feet. Let's sit her up here. And I am going to take control and we're going to kind of head over in this direction a little bit. They'll nose over to that mountain over there. And I'll start coming down a little bit. Beautiful day for a flight. Can't believe it. Just a couple of days ago, we'd have been in rain and cloudy weather coming in. That's always nice. Not. We're used to that kind of weather, but I'm not used to flying, so I'm not used to flying in that kind of weather. I have, and it's pretty scary. So you can kind of see the river in front of us at the base of those hills. We're going to be heading towards the river, and then we're going to take a left and kind of follow the river in to the airfield. Kind of, sort of. Kind of, sort of. See if we hit any wind down there. Come down a little more. I kept trying to come down, and then I'd work my way back up again. Yeah, it doesn't like me dropping that fast. Portland Troutdale. Troutdale, that's where my brother that passed here a few months ago, that's where he lived, in Troutdale. And there's a highway that runs parallel to the river all the way into what we call the gorge, and we'd run that highway or that freeway all the way to a place called Biggs Junction, and we'd cross over Biggs Junction into the Washington side. Washington's on the other side of the river there, and we'd run into the Yakima Valley where I was from. All right, let me start coming around. I don't want to get over the river. Bring the throttle down a little bit. All right, there we are, Portland. Let's come on down. I'm gonna drop the landing gear. Maybe. Landing gear's down. Let's put our flaps down. For landing. And find a strip. Okay, I'm gonna go over to 10 over there. Let me get down a little bit. I should have been down a little bit lower. We'll be fine. Landing strip 10 is usually the one we take off from. For smaller planes, anyway. That's I-5 below us. Heading, it's 105. It's a bypass of I-5, and it'll join up with I-5 after we get through the city area here, and that'll take you to Seattle. So I didn't do a very good job of lining up here. Matter of fact, came down a little bit lower, a little bit sooner than I wanted to. Slow movements here, slow movements. And we're down. Not too bad. I got a little bit wiggly there for a second, but it's not bad. The wiggly one, the wiggly bit is, if I haven't said before, and I know I have, the rudder is twisting the stick that I fly with, and so that's how I turn. So I'm trying to control the rudder when I land and not hop, and so there was a little bit of a jerkiness there. Was me just trying to control both of those things with the same hand, and obviously the rudder is left to right, a twist, and you know the stick is up and down, back and forth for up and down. And I really should be using rudder pedals instead of the stick to do that, and I wouldn't have that problem. So I don't know where all these people are going, but right in the way. I'm going to pull into one of these places up here where I probably shouldn't be, but it's a parking spot. It's got my name on it. And we're here. Put our brake on. Let's bring our flaps up. We'll leave the landing gear down since we're on the ground. All righty. Portland, Oregon, home again. Home again. Jiggity jig. Let's go ahead and shut things down here. We're going to start off with some of these switches on the bottom right here. All right, and then let's go up above and start turning off some lights. Again, I had the taxi lights on. I should have had the lane lights on. I forgot. My bad. We're going to shut down some of these lights here. Let's shut off the autopilot. We can put the oxygen off. Fuel can go back to manual. This auxiliary BP, we're going to shut that off. Turn the ignition off. Starter we can leave off. And let's, whoops, wrong way. Drop that. We're going to drop down and cut the fuel. What a beautiful day. Indeed, a beautiful day. Hey, we're down and dusted. The culmination of a tour of the United States. Not a full one, but in my case, a fulfilling one. There are a lot of states I haven't seen from the air or from the ground. I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you in the next one. I'll let you I'll know or keep you posted on what I'm thinking. I'm really seriously thinking towards the state one, where the next big tour from state to state to state, just landing in each state's airport, state capital airports. That's going to be quite a trip, so it won't be right away. I've got other things I want to do. But I hope you had fun, and I hope to see you in whatever the next one is that I have. And thanks for joining me. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and have fun playing games. Ta-ta for now.